In the segregated American South of 1944, a young boy named George Stinney Jr. lived a simple life in Alcaluz, South Carolina. He was just 14, a child like any other, attending school and helping his family. His world was one of dusty roads, humble homes, and the harsh realities of racial division. On March 23, 1944, George was doing chores, looking after his family's cow. He saw two white girls, Betty June Binnicker and Mary Emma Thames, pass by. They asked him for directions to a specific flower, and he pointed them towards the tracks. Hours later, the girls were reported missing. A frantic search began, their families consumed by terror. By nightfall, their lifeless bodies were discovered in a ditch, brutally murdered. The very next day, police arrived at the Stinney family home. Without a warrant, without cause, they arrested George. The only reason? He was a young black boy who had last seen the white victims. George was taken to a police station, separated from his parents, and interrogated alone for hours. There was no lawyer, no parent, just a terrified child facing hardened men. Under immense pressure, exhausted and alone, George allegedly confessed to the murders. A confession later proven to be coerced, extracted from a child unable to comprehend the gravity of the situation. The trial began less than a month later. It was a grotesque parody of justice. No evidence linking George to the crime, other than the dubious confession, was ever presented. George's appointed defense attorney did little to protect him. He called no witnesses, presented no evidence, and barely cross-examined. The outcome felt predetermined. The all-white jury deliberated for a mere 10 minutes. 10 minutes to decide the fate of a 14-year-old boy. 10 minutes that sealed his tragic destiny. The verdict? Guilty. The sentence? Death by electrocution. A shocking decision based on prejudice, not proof. George Stinney Jr. was held in solitary confinement for 81 days, away from his family, away from the world, awaiting his unjust fate. On June 16, 1944, George was led to the death chamber. He was still just a child, the smallest person ever executed in the United States. He carried a Bible, barely reaching the height of the chair. At 7:30 a.m., George Stinney Jr. was strapped into the electric chair. The straps, designed for adults, struggled to hold his small frame. With a jolt, the current coursed through his body. The young boy's life, unjustly taken, ended in a horrifying instant. The aftermath left his family shattered, forever marked by the indelible stain of this injustice. A profound loss, a deep wound inflicted by a system meant to protect. The true perpetrator of the murders of Betty June and Mary Emma remained free. Their deaths, tragic and unsolved, were compounded by George's wrongful execution. For decades, the name of George Stinney Jr. was synonymous with a monumental failure of justice, a stark reminder of racial bias and judicial misconduct. 70 years later, in 2014, George Stinney Jr.'s conviction was finally vacated. A judge recognized the fundamental injustices, the lack of due process, the coerced confession. It was a posthumous victory, a small measure of truth, but one that could never erase the horror of his final moments. A devastating chapter in American history finally acknowledged. The story of George Stinney Jr. also serves as a reminder that we still have much work to do to ensure true justice for all. Let his name be a testament to the enduring fight for true justice.